Have you ever wondered what inspired one of the most terrifying horror stories ever told? Before it was made into a book, before spinning heads and demonic possessions shocked Hollywood, there was a real teenager whose case shocked priests, terrified witnesses, and remains one of the most controversial paranormal cases in American history. Some believe he was possessed by a demon, maybe more. Others insist he might have been a troubled teenager pulling off an elaborate ruse. On this episode, we're diving into the truth. Welcome to the Ghosts and Ghouls podcast. I'm your host, Tyler, and with me, I have the guy that keeps telling me that I'm his ghoul friend, my co-host, Anthony.
That was fucking smooth.
What? My ghoul friend?
You guys don't know how many takes we did.
True. Patreon knows. If you're new here, this is how this works. I tell my friend Anthony here a fictional horror story about a ghost, ghoul, extraterrestrial, paranormal entity, cryptid, monster, / terrifying thing, where I've removed the name of the creature from the story and replaced it with descriptions. Then Anthony gets to guess what we might be talking about this week. After that, we go over its history, and then we do what's called running the gauntlet, where Anthony here gets to go through a choose-your-own-adventure story, which he has a 0 success rate at. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was about to say.
He's done pretty well. His survival skills are pretty up there. If you were in a horror movie with Anthony, listen to him. He'll get you out alive. Hopefully. Maybe not tonight. But we will run the gauntlet where Anthony will go through a choose-your-own-adventure horror story. And, yeah, see if you can make it out on the other side.
Please make sure to go ahead and leave a like. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell for any notifications to stay updated for when we post, as well as follow us on our Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. I believe that's all we have for this instance in terms of social media. And then we have links in the description, multiple, to our Discord, to our Buzzsprout, to our Patreon. Discord, we're trying to make things happen up there. Book club, movie nights, blah, 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 blah. Forums to share your stories. And then our Patreon, of course, you get $1 only. And to get our videos a day early, uncut, unedited, all of our jokes that YouTube doesn't like, as well as arguments that may happen.
Or mess-ups.
A lot of mess-ups. And then as well as our new thing that we're making, Campfire Tales. The first ever Campfire Tales will be soon coming out. I don't know
Probably
exactly.
before this actually comes out.
Yes, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have it completely done tonight, actually, as of
Fantastic.
recording. And then our Buzzsprout is just the audio only, but you can support us there. However, we're on everywhere you listen to your podcasts or audios, wherever. So
Just search Ghosts and Ghouls podcast.
exactly.
You'll find us.
As well as, I forgot one more link to our Gmail. So if you guys would like to share like stories and you don't want to do it on the Discord.
Yeah, if you don't want to do it in a public setting, like in the comments or anything, you can always email us. We love hearing from you guys.
Yep, absolutely. And then I believe
Hit us with a story.
I believe that's it.
That's
for
it?
That. Yeah, unless you want to do...
I have some thanks to give. Actually, I have some groveling, some bowing. What else you...
begging?
No, it's not really begging. You did that part. We have a couple patrons to thank.
Okay.
We have to thank Master Ashley. Thank you. Master Harper. Thank you. They subscribed at the Master tier.
I got you.
Or we
Master
have to
Ashley
call-
and Master Harper.
That
Thank you.
backfired so bad.
What?
The Call Me Master.
They call me Master
Well, I
tier.
was riffing. All right. I set up the Patreon. I was watching Hocus Pocus, and I loved the scene where Satan and his wife get the 3 witches into their house, and then they call me Master, and I was like, that's a great Patreon title. They call me Master. Now it's just like,
We set it up
we
at, like,
call you Master now.
The Master tier is what, $6?
$5.
Oh, $5?
Yeah. If you want to be called Master in a weird kink
Yeah.
way,
I think the Master tier doesn't really do anything right now except for just the funny making us call you master.
It lines you up for, I want to say it was more tickets into giveaways, the early access to everything.
Okay. See, we don't have that set up yet. We're getting there.
Yeah. It also, I think when they go to Discord, if they are Patreon, I think I actually have it set up if they go through Discord or through Patreon to get to Discord, they get some kind of perk. I can't remember if it's like access into the Campfire Tales like chat or something like that, but there's like one of those voice chats where it's like limited so many people that you can get into.
Oh, I got you.
You can talk to us. I'm always on Discord. So, after that little rant, Anthony here gets a little shot in the dark guess based on our little intro. So, what do you think we're talking about?
So it was based off of a real tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So, no. Well, the story's based on, yes.
Oh.
But no, this is a real thing that happened to a real teenager that might have been taken and used for something that became probably one of the most notable horror franchises.
Oh, Paranormal Activity.
Nope.
What?
No.
That is the most notable.
No, there's a book.
Oh.
The most.
Is it The Exorcist?
You're close.
Well, okay, I'm not gonna do any guesses. I actually don't know. I like knowing the true names of everything. I don't know.
The true name of The Exorcist, like what inspired The
Yes.
Exorcist.
I literally only would know.
I have it right here. This is our July book club book of the month. I've read it. It's graphic.
I haven't started.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It took me a second to fall asleep after this guy. Like it ends. Well, we'll talk about it at book club. Yeah. So you don't know the name
Nope.
of the person that The Exorcist is inspired on.
No.
Like inspired by.
No, you said teen. I'm assuming it's a girl, right? Okay. I'm just basing it off of the movie. I'll be real.
Okay. We're gonna get into this.
Okay.
This story is called The Devil is Real. March 1949. The room smelled of candle wax, sweat, and rain. Outside the hospital window, a storm rolled across the night sky, rattling the glass with every burst of thunder. Inside, 6 men stood around a hospital bed. In the center lay a 13-year-old boy. Leather restraints secured his wrists and ankles. His eyes were closed, and for a moment he looked peaceful. Then his chest rose sharply. His eyes snapped open. The room temperature seemed to plummet. Father Bowdern stepped forward, clutching a crucifix. "Can you hear me, son?" he asked quietly. The boy's gaze drifted towards him. A grin slowly spread across his face. It wasn't the grin of a frightened child. It was a grin of something that enjoyed fear. "He's not here," the boy replied. The voice was wrong, deep and old. The priest exchanged nervous glances with one another. The ritual began. Latin prayers filled the room. The words echoed off the walls like distant thunder, and for several minutes nothing happened. Then the bed began to shake. One leg lifted from the floor and another. The entire frame rattled violently. A nurse gasped. The mattress lurched several inches across the room. The restraints strained as the teenager's body twisted unnaturally. His back arched. A guttural growl erupted from his throat. The candles flickered, one extinguishing itself, then another, then another. Only the crucifix remained slightly illuminated in the dim light, and the child began laughing. Not a child's laugh, a cold, mocking sound. "You think your prayers matter," the voice hissed, and the walls began to creak. Somewhere inside the room, something scratched, slowly and deliberately. Scratch, scratch. The sound came from beneath the bed. Father Holleran knelt and looked underneath. Nothing. The moment he stood, the scratching resumed, louder and closer, as though invisible fingers dragged across the floorboards. Their prayers continued. The young boy's head jerked violently from one side to another. Red marks appeared across his chest. At first they looked like scratches, then they deepened. The priest watched in horror as letters slowly emerged on his skin. No hands touched him. No objects came near him. yet the marks continue to form. A message, 3 words, leave him alone. The room fell silent. Even the storm outside seemed to pause. Then every window in the room exploded inward. Glass showered across the floor. The candles went out. Darkness swallowed everything. A scream erupted from the shadows, not from the boy, not from any of the men present. Something else, something hidden and furious. Lightning flashed outside, and for an instant Father Halloran thought he saw a figure standing in the corner, tall and thin, its face hidden by darkness. Then the light vanished, and the figure was gone. The ritual stretched on for weeks. Night after night, the same battle, the same fear. Objects moved without explanation. Furniture shook. Staff reported hearing voices in empty hallways. Several refused to enter the teenager's room after sunset. One orderly claimed he saw the child standing beside his bed while simultaneously lying in it, asleep. Yet no one believed him. He quit the very next day. On the final night, the storm returned, the strongest yet. Thunder shook the hospital. Rain hammered the windows. The priest gathered once more. The exhausted boy appeared pale and worn down, but something still watched through his eyes. And the prayers began again. For hours they continued. Every response from the entity grew weaker. Every insult sounded less certain. The laughter faded. The rage began to diminish. Then shortly before dawn, the teenager suddenly sat upright. His restraints snapped. His eyes widened. He stared at something above the bed, something no one else could see. A low roar filled the air. The walls vibrated, the windows rattled, and then the boy spoke, not in his monstrous voice, but in his own. He's leaving. The roar became a scream, a deafening, inhuman scream that seemed to come from every direction at once. The candles reignited, the temperature rose. The pressure in the room vanished. Then silence, absolute silence. The boy collapsed onto his bed. The priest waited. Seconds passed, then minutes. Finally, the teenager opened his eyes, confusion across his face. "Why is everyone staring at me?" he asked. No one could answer. Several men simply wept. Outside, the storm had ended, and for the first time in months, dawn sunlight broke through the clouds, and whatever had haunted this child was finally gone.
Okay. Yeah, this is definitely based off of The Exorcist. Or this created The Exorcist.
Very much so.
However, I don't know the name of... I would say you're looking for the name of the boy. I would say, like, Sam.
Nope.
Oh.
So this is not his actual name. His actual name, people have speculated what it might have been. I've done some research trying to figure it out.
Oh, so they don't know.
This is the exorcism of Roland Doe.
Oh, okay.
So, in the late 1940s, a German-American family living in Cottage City, Maryland, began experiencing events they could not explain. At the center of the story is a 13-year-old boy, later known to the public as Roland Doe. For decades, his identity remained secret. According to family accounts, everything changed shortly after the death of his beloved aunt, Harriet. Harriet reportedly had a deep interest in spiritualism and had introduced her nephew to a Ouija board. Not long after her death, in 1949, strange things allegedly began happening inside the family home. Scratching sounds echoed through the walls, footsteps seemed to move through empty rooms, objects shifted without explanation, and most disturbing of it all, the boy's mattress reportedly began moving on its own. At first, the family assumed there had to be a rational explanation, but as the activities intensified, they started fearing something far worse. And, according to some witnesses, the most frightening events hadn't even begun. So, his favorite aunt passes away.
That's actually insane.
Spiritualism.
Yeah.
Introduced to the Ouija board.
Yeah. The Ouija board being a biggest thing, like a key. Okay, my stance on the Ouija board is very much like I don't believe in it as much, especially if people use it for like ghost hunting and all this stuff. It's just like that's the one equipment that I actually hate seeing.
When they're like, let's pull out the Ouija board, guys.
Yes, because it's like a lot of them just like, are you pulling it? Like, are you pulling it? Like, are you pulling it? It's like,
yeah.
like someone could actually just be lightly moving it, and it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
really? It's like, so
Well-
even the dowsing rods,
Yeah.
I actually understand the dowsing rods, but then I found out that plumbers use them.
Yeah.
Or electricians,
Uh-huh,
or
plumbers
whatever.
do. Yeah.
It was plumbers. Yeah, they use it to look
find for
the
water.
water.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that okay. So if you're above like ley lines,
Yep.
and usually ley lines are above streams of water
Yep.
that are underneath the earth.
Yep.
It's like, oh, well,
Very much so.
so it's kind of, I don't know. But again, my stance on the Ouija
So-
board is very much, I don't believe in it.
I'm kind of in your ballpark when it comes to the Ouija board because I'm like
Mm-hmm.
Ouija board, okay. I don't like it when it comes out in paranormal investigations.
Yes.
Either. And it was originally like a board game produced by, I think it was like Mattel.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, all right, big hit. What gets me about it though is time after time after time after time, so many things link back to this thing. So once again, we get into the debate.
Yeah.
Does the belief in it
This
it real?
This is what I was about to say. I think it's literally your belief. You put power into your words. Like, okay, if we're all sitting here and we all think something is connecting to
Yep.
it, it's like, oh, then something is using that belief as a key to get through
Now,
the veil of some
the
sorts.
other kind of big takeaway from the Ouija board is the power of suggestion. So I'm saying that we're opening a realm and
Yeah.
I'm suggesting to you that things can move through this thing and do all these other things.
Yeah.
And maybe subconsciously you're moving it and you're not even realizing it. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's like, okay, every little like sound, like
Yeah.
the house like
Creaking
settling,
and this, that,
boom, boom,
yeah.
boom. It's something in the wall. It's
Yeah.
kind of like how when you like, okay, you got to manually blink, like your body's blinking. It's like, oh wait,
Yeah, when
you
you're
don't forget
conscious
to
of-
breathe.
yeah,
like,
when-
oh, like
Yeah,
Oh,
when
like-
you're conscious of those things, yeah.
No,
So
absolutely.
You can mess with a mind like
yeah. Ah.
that. So seeking answers and desperate for help, the family consulted doctors, psychiatrists, and religious leaders, and no one could explain what was happening. Eventually, they turned to their Lutheran minister, Reverend Luther Miles Schultz. Schultz reportedly spent time observing the teenager and became concerned enough to recommend seeking help from the Catholic Church. Soon, Father E. Albert Hughes became involved. After receiving permission from the church authorities, Hughes arranged an exorcism at Georgetown University Hospital. It was the first serious attempt to rid the teenager of whatever force his family believed had taken hold of him. What happened during the ritual would become one of the most famous moments in the entire case, but decades later, investigators would question whether it happened at all. So, the failed exorcism. According to the traditional account, the teenager was restrained during the ritual. As prayers continued, he allegedly slipped one of his hands free. Then, in a sudden burst of violence, he reportedly ripped a metal spring from beneath the mattress and slashed Father Hughes. So he slipped a restraint, plunged his arm underneath, ripped a metal bed spring out, and cut the dude.
Holy crap.
The ceremony ended immediately. The exorcism failed. Whether the attack happened exactly as reported remains a matter of debate. But one thing is certain, the family believed that the situation was getting worse. Soon afterwards, mysterious scratches reportedly began appearing on the teenager's body. Some witnesses claimed they formed messages. One message in particular would convince the family to leave everything behind and travel hundreds of miles to St. Louis. Louis kept appearing on his skin. Louis kept appearing on his skin.
That's crazy.
Or you're in a hospital bed, right? And this is
Yeah.
kind of the other thing too. I looked at like what it takes to get an exorcism, right?
Oh, it takes a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
I was not ready for you got to have
Yeah.
psych evals
Yep.
and physicals
Yep.
and this and that. They're doing MRIs and X-rays and all
So-
this kind of stuff. They're ruling out every
So
possible thing scientifically.
believe it or not, I'm actually very much known to this part because of like I was like exorcisms were like this is amazing. Like
Yeah.
I would love to know more about this, and I learned that like a lot of religious leaders, like especially like fathers or whatever,
Yeah.
they would actually get people of like just doctors who are atheists. They would look for atheists to
Yes.
be like, hey, can you go ahead and look at this person?
Rule everything out.
Everything you possibly can
Yep.
before we even, because they had to send in word to the Vatican, or not just the Vatican, but whoever
there's like
their
a hierarchy that they have to go up
they
this
have to
chain
send
to
it up
ask
there. And sometimes when they don't,
for.
and sometimes if it's like truly bad, the father would be like, okay, we're gonna perform a emergency exorcism.
Yeah.
We got to get it done. I got to help. I think it was one of the stories. I forgot which one it was, but they went through like all these doctors, especially one of them becoming an atheist who was an atheist, and then it became a religious like believer.
Yeah, because he just couldn't believe what they were seeing.
Yes, but I believe it was exorcisms. I actually truly do believe. Because one of the most notable ones is and the one I'm talking about is still on YouTube. You can listen to it, and when you do listen to it, your entire phone actually breaks. Like it shuts down. Your phone shuts down
That's crazy.
because you hear demonic like Latin or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like you'll hear the father like I think doing its normal verse or whatever,
Yeah.
but then you'll hear the lady start talking in tongue or whatever, Latin most likely, and then it's just your phone starts shutting.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it's like it's so much, but it's very like
Yeah.
it's unnerving to listen.
So, so in the rabbit hole of doing this, I actually watched where ABC did a exorcism.
Oh shoot.
Like super religious town, teenage girl, blah blah blah, and they did the exorcism. And I mean, she was like biting at people, like I mean, she looked disturbed.
Yeah.
Like you could see it in her eyes that it was like it was something was going on there that could not be explained.
I got you. You know, I kind of understand why a lot of people, not to get into a lot of big religious or whatever, like for, like, I think was it Muslim not eating pork?
A lot of religions don't eat pork.
Because I could have sworn in one of the testaments, like Jesus had like sent a person exorcism into a pig.
Yeah, so he was dealing with somebody who was possessed, and he asked the demon what their name is, and that's where the We Are Legion comes from.
Yeah.
And then he was like, cast them out, and he casted like 700 some odd devils, demons out into the pigs, and the pigs went insane and ran off a cliff and died.
I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I wonder if that's why they don't eat pork. Is mostly because they're like afraid of like demons who were cast out.
So I think actually the reason they don't eat pork, because there's a list of things that they don't eat. It's anything that has two hooves, that doesn't eat chud or something like that, which is like grass.
Yeah.
They don't eat fish that don't have scales or bottom feeders because they're dirty. Okay. So like pigs are out because they're dirty animals. Shellfish like lobsters, crabs are out because they're dirty animals. Bottom feeders like catfish and fish like that don't have scales they don't eat. And I think that's kind of like where a lot of that kind of comes from, is it being dirty animals versus like demon animals. But I like it better that like
I was gonna say I kind of like mine
Jewish
a little bit
people
more.
don't eat, or you know.
I would say because like they're afraid of one of the demonic spirits that Jesus had casted out being in one of the. I feel like that's a lot better.
It's a little more flavorful.
It's a little bit, definitely more flavorful to.
That would be a really fun like dark comedy movie, where if you had somebody get possessed because they ate too much bacon.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
He ate the cursed like ham biscuit and just
like,
started
what
puking
demon do you have?
Then just throwing out his head.
I ate this bacon and now I have Asmodeus in me. It's like
Beelzebub is just poking my butt. So, the family traveled to St. Louis, Missouri, where relatives helped connect them with the Jesuit priests of the St. Louis University. Among them were Father William Bowdern, Father Raymond Bishop, and Father Walter Holleran. These men would become the primary witnesses to the most famous phase of the case. According to their accounts, the teenagers seemed perfectly normal during the day, but after dark, everything changed. The priest described violent outbursts, trance-like states, objects moving around the room, and a growing hostility towards religious symbols. The more they observed, the more convinced they became that this was not an ordinary psychiatric case. What happened during the exorcism that followed would make the headlines that inspired books and eventually helped create the most famous horror film ever made, The Exorcist. But first, disturbances became a little bit more extreme. So, after going through all this,
Yeah.
they finally get permission to perform the formal exorcisms. Here we go.
All right.
This ritual stretched on for weeks. Night after night, the priest gathered around the teenager. According to reports, he screamed obscenities. He allegedly displayed unusual strength. Witness claims scratches appeared upon his body while prayers were being recited. Some even believed that markings carried messages. Father Walter Holleran later recalled being injured during one violent episode. The strain on everyone involved became immense. As the situation escalated, the teenager was moved to Alexian Brothers Hospital. The priest hoped that the hospital would provide a safer environment. Instead, they claimed that some of the most disturbing events of the entire case occurred there, and it was inside that hospital that it finally reached its end. So, this started January 1940. What did I say? January 1949, right? They've been going through all this, okay? It's now April. January, February, March, April. We're 4 months deep into this.
Dealing with the possession.
Dealing with this possession. We've uprooted our family. We've moved away. We've moved hundreds of miles from Maryland to St. Louis. We're doing all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this. A fucking weak demon can't even possess a teenager. Like, dude.
So, the final night, the evening of April 18th, the Monday after Easter of that year. According to traditional accounts, the teenager entered another violent trance. The priest gathered around his bed and continued the ritual. This time they invoked Saint Michael the Archangel. Witnesses later claimed the teenager shouted, screamed, and resisted the prayers. And suddenly, everything stopped. Just like that. Boom. Stopped. The room fell still, silent. Moments later, the teenager opened his eyes and quietly spoke a few words. He is gone. According to those present, the strange behavior ended immediately. No more trances, violent outbursts, no mysterious scratches. For the priest, the battle was over, but the biggest question of all remained unanswered. What had they actually witnessed? So, some accounts said that the teenager said that he had a vision of the devil and the archangel fighting, and that the angel won, and then that's when he woke up.
I got you.
I could only find that in like a couple like loose out there kind of things, so I'm like, okay, like these are kind of dramatizations of what happened, but
now I don't understand. So this is where I'm very, very like, what's the word? Skeptical. Being everybody says, oh, it was the devil. Oh, it was the devil. It's like,
yeah.
Was it truly the devil, or was it like a different type of demon? And like, would hell have its own like hierarchies and anything? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. We can go visit.
Yeah, let me die for 7 seconds and then let me.
So I think,
you know what I'm saying, because it wouldn't.
Literature-wise, when it comes to devil and the angel, you have a hierarchy of angels in heaven. It would not surprise me if there is a hierarchy of devils and demons in hell.
Yeah.
Based on your Judeo-Christian heaven, the big split, and then the angels coming from heaven and being cast to earth, and having to live the way they did, and being put in hell, and then
again, and the reason why I say this is because the devil himself, right, is the leader of hell, or was given that title, cast out. Like, does he, like, why would he possess just a random kid, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, instead of doing, like, more noticeable figures or something like that, you know, why would he wouldn't he just send someone else to go like, hey, go do this, like possess this, like go possess, blah 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 blah.
I get what
You know
you're
what I'm
saying.
It's kind of like
He's got better things to do.
yeah. Why would a boss send do it himself unless maybe to get back at God, of course, but like I don't know.
My take on that would have to be if the devil wanted to sow discourse, what better person to do it than himself, right?
Kind of like if no one's going to do it better than me.
No one's going to do it better than me. And I think part of the devil's legacy is the ego of self.
Okay. Yeah, the pride. Yeah.
You do it for you. It's your reality. It's your this. Be the person you want to be, not the community, not the person the community needs you to be, or your family needs you to be.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where a lot of times I kind of get into like the philosophical arguments of, being a father, being a husband, stuff like that. And people are like, oh, well, my husband doesn't do anything like that for me. And it's like, your husband kind of selfish. Like, like there are moments like that where it's like, yeah, like you're dealing with selfish people, and that can be tough. But at the same time, like getting back to what we're talking about, the devil, who's going to do it better than the devil himself? Now, this is the other thing too. Researching, like looking into demonology and devils and all this kind of stuff, and these kind of like religious kind of stuff. Like, it seems to me like you got Lucifer, you got Asmodeus, you got Beelzebub, you got the devil, you got like there's a bunch of these guys.
Yeah, well, there's he wasn't the only angel.
Oh yeah, no.
But he was one of the founding angels.
Yeah, he took a big chunk of them with him.
Yeah, because he basically, because I think the first sin that they said was basically, Lucifer himself was made out of these beautiful instruments, and then he looked at a reflection of himself and was just like, I'm him.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's when.
Yeah.
So they say, but again, I was just like, why would, and it makes sense. Okay, if anybody's going to try to like disturb God's creations, it's going to be me, because no one else can do it better than I can, so.
Yeah. So now brings us to the debate. For decades, researchers have tried to separate fact from legend. Author Thomas B. Allen studied surviving records that concluded the definite proof that possession simply just does not exist. Researcher Mark Opsnaznik. Mark, you have a really hard last name. Opsnaznik. Mark O. argued that many parts of the story were exaggerated and that the teenager may have deliberately created some sort of reported phenomenon. Skeptical investigator Joe Nickel reached similar conclusions. He believed that the events could be explained by trickery, emotional distress, and the expectations of those involved. Suggestion. Even Father Walter Halloran, one of those priests who participated in the exorcism, refused to definitely declare that the teenager's possession later in life. Yet, believers point to the number of witnesses and the consistency of the many reports and convictions of those who experimented the events firsthand. And that's what makes this case so fucking enduring. You have so many doctors, so many nurses, so many priests, the people involved, the family. It kept it alive.
I can only imagine that the people that weren't involved would just want to say, oh, it's like a placebo effect.
Yeah.
They just said, oh, he was possessed.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's why they search for people who don't believe in possessions to be like, hey, is this a possession?
Yep.
Or does this guy, is he like an illness, or does he, like, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
Oh, yeah. No, I'm right there.
Yeah.
Right there in that same lane.
This is why I can heavily believe in exorcism.
Yeah.
Like, or a possession and the exorcism.
So, more than 70 years later, no one can say with certainty, except for those few people involved.
Yeah.
What happened in those rooms in 1949? Was it a demonic possession? Was it something psychological? Was it an elaborate hoax? Elaborate hoax? Could have been. Whatever the truth may be, the story became the inspiration for The Exorcist and remains one of the most debated paranormal cases in modern history. So, a question to the viewer. What do you think actually happened to Roland Doe? Do you think he was possessed? I kind of think he was.
I think he was. Now, the other thing that he could possibly be is probably the multiple personality disorder. You know, maybe he had another personality that was like heavily aggressive. That's the only other possible thing I can think of.
Okay, yeah.
You know, but to me personally, opinion, he was very much possessed. I do believe in possessions.
Now I'm curious because I did read that what a lot of the reports came from were the journals that the priests kept, which is kind of one of those other things too. Because then you have people, the witnesses, like the nurses and the doctors and all this kind of stuff. Because a lot of this stuff happened in hospitals.
Yeah.
Like all of it happened in fucking hospitals. But you take all that, you line it all up. What I'm really curious is, was it the devil or do they have another name?
That's what, like another, like demon,
Yep.
like a different demon or whatever lesser. That's kind of how I was thinking. I was always thinking like, and if it was the devil, it's like, you know, for being so powerful, why couldn't he possess a teenager in those months?
And this is, well, he did.
Well, it doesn't seem like a full possession. Almost, it feels like it's still like trying to get, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like there's still, for him to get restrained and for him to still be down like that, and then them doing the exorcism itself, and then being able to pull him out like that, it feels like it was incomplete, you know?
Yeah. Which, I mean, if you take a lesser demon or a lesser devil and you kind of have like, hey, go do this, pretend to be me. Like, I'm the devil himself.
Or just people believe it's the devil because...
Or, I mean, what is the biggest thing they ever do? Fucking lie. You know what I mean? Like, they lie. Devils are they are lying little shits. They lie all the time. They're gonna try to mislead you.
Yeah, so... Now, you could also say maybe because of the possessions that if they are incomplete, it's due to the soul. Maybe God had created us with the soul in mind, right? To have like its own layer of protection from any kind of possession, you know? Like a little barrier, you know? Maybe it's like, you know, got our own shield.
I can see that.
Yeah. Now again, I'm not very religious, but I do believe in God and in Jesus and all of his followers.
So I'm gonna bring this up real quick. Okay. And this is the other part of possession that kind of fucks me up. Okay. Do you know the demon's name in this book that possesses the girl?
You told me before. I forgot.
Okay.
It wasn't it like...
It's Pazuzu.
That's what I was thinking. Pazuzu, yeah.
Pazuzu.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, okay. Pazuzu. Whatever.
Yeah.
We got it off some fucking Sanskrit in the desert from the Middle East.
Possibly.
Okay, it's a fucking name, whatever. Okay. I want to say in North Carolina, the house has been demolished since. Okay. There was a guy who I think saw this movie way too fucking young, and that shit possessed him.
Oh.
Like he was murdering people. Like his house was
Holy
like a straight up like possession heroin den. Hold on. Let me look it up real quick. I want to make sure that I got the.
That's wild.
Of course I can't.
Truthfully, I think this all boils down to the like power of belief. I just want to say.
Here it is. So this is a news article from 2014, October 2014-ish, right? Okay. It's super short, so I'm going to read it. Clemens, North Carolina, greeted with the cheers from neighbors. Work crews demolished the so-called Clemens House of Horrors located at 2749 Nob Hill Drive. Construction site on Friday was much more than a demolition zone. It was a sign of relief and a path setter for the future of neighbors in the community. Several people set up camping chairs outside the house to celebrate its destruction. Some were smiling ear to ear. It was a day in particular the community had been awaiting for 6 months, ever since the skeletal remains of 2 men were found buried in shallow graves in the backyard in October. The last of the house is finally down. Neighbors say they can finally move on with the healing process. Can you feel the peace? It's like when you take a big, deep breath and count to 10, like right after you get a massage, that whoa, wow. said Lauren Hurst, who lives across the street. They're finally going to have some peace and calmness. So, let me see if I can find the dude. These were the people that were living inside, right? See that dude's face?
Yeah.
It is all trash, pentagrams, graffiti, like super like devil heads and everything else, right? Like just hyper, like the front door, like super House of Horror style, like he had Satan tattooed on his forearm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he called himself Pazuzu Algarad.
Yeah.
And he murdered 2 people in devil worship in the basement of the home.
I don't think he was possessed. I think he was just a fucking like insane person.
I think he was nuts, but I think he saw the exorcism way too early and just got locked.
I think this was like a case of the Slender Man, where those girls killed because
I don't think he was actually possessed by Pazuzu.
No, I don't think he was possessed by anything. I think he was literally just, he saw the movie at like a suggestible age, but like was like, you know, and it's just like, I clearly think he was just fucking, like he definitely a pure evil man.
Yeah.
You know?
So.
That's,
yeah. Pazuzu Algarad.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I get this all boils down to the power of belief, you know?
Yep.
Whether or not, like, especially during an exorcisms, I feel like if it's the priest, if they truly believe, like, with the words that they say to get him out, that carries the strength of actually releasing the demon, like, get him out. Same thing for if they don't believe, right? If they're like, oh, this is never gonna work. Yeah. It's like, oh, they're gonna fail. Ugh. You know, that's just kind of how I think. Or if you, it's almost like the case of when there is a demonic entity in your house, like you don't even need to say a verse, you don't need to say anything, you just tell them like, get out, like leave my house now, this is my house.
Yeah, the power of commandment.
Yes.
Like I'm gonna command you to go do this, like get the fuck out.
Yeah, because I remember someone also said too that they said in Jesus' name, this is my house, my domain, leave now. And then once they said that, it like everything like opened up, like all the cabinets all like blew up, like basically just opened up, everything crashed to the ground and then stopped. Yep. And then left. It was like it just happened all at once and then boom. It was just like,
well, if that's the case, right? And if you remember last week we talked about the what was it, the Snedeker family? Yeah. Like, do you think Alan Snedeker was like, oh, I command you to do butt stuff to me because he was getting sodomized by ghosts?
So I think that his belief in his like mind or whatever, that he was just looking for notoriety and he was just looking for money. And he was just like, I'm gonna say whatever I need to say to get me on the news and to get me like,
so
on
he
papers.
was a shitbag.
Essentially.
Okay. All right, you ready for the gauntlet?
Sure.
Are we doing? Are we doing super fast? Are we doing?
We're gonna go ahead and do super fast. We're gonna go B, C, A, and then C again, just in case.
Hold on. B,
C, A, and then C if there's a fourth, because I might die at like A. You know what I'm saying? B, C, A,
C,
and then A,
and then A,
and then if there's a fourth one, C, and then after that I will try to grow myself, but
BCA, right?
Yeah, BCA. Hopefully I picked right.
And then after C?
Yeah.
BCAC.
And then I'll go by myself after. Like, I'll go ahead and do manual.
Okay.
Good luck reading all that.
No, you're good. Night shift. St. Louis, Missouri, 1949. You are Nurse Eleanor Hart, a young hospital nurse assigned to a patient unlike you've ever seen. Officially, the 13-year-old boy in room 321 has suffered an emotional disturbances. Unofficially, whispers spread through the hospital after dark. Nurses refuse to enter his room alone. Orderlies quit without notice. Priests arrive in all hours, carrying rosaries, holy water, and prayer books. The boy's real name has never been spoken. Everyone simply calls him Roland. Your shift begins at 11 p.m. At the end of the hall stands room 321. Two Catholic priests wait outside the door. One is elderly and exhausted, the other appears tense, clutching a crucifix. The older priest turns to you. "Thank God you're here," he says. "We need someone to monitor the boy during tonight's prayers." A crash echoes from inside the room. Then another. The younger priest flinches. The restraints won't hold him much longer. You swallow hard. As you approach the door, you hear a voice from inside. Not a scream or a cry, a deep guttural voice that sounds like nothing a child should make. It speaks your name. "Eleanor." Your blood runs cold. You have never met this boy before. What do you do? B. Ask how the boy could possibly know your name before going inside. You raise a trembling hand. "Before I go in," you say trying to keep your voice as steady as possible. "How does he know my name?" The priests exchange glances. Neither of them answer immediately. Another violent crash erupts from inside the room. The younger priest finally speaks. "That's one of the reasons we're here." The older priest sighs heavily. "The boy has spoken names he shouldn't know. Family members, doctors, nurses, sometimes strangers." You stare at him. "You're saying he's psychic?" "No," the priest replies quietly. "I'm saying we don't know." The scraping sounds come from the other side of the door, like fingernails dragging slowly across the metal. Then comes the voice again. "Eleanor!" The sound is deeper now, older, almost amused. "Your brother still keeps the baseball in the attic." Your heart nearly drops. Nobody here should know that. You haven't mentioned your brother to anyone in the hospital. The priest noticed the color drain from your face. "What's wrong?" asks the younger priest. Before you can answer, the door rattles violently. The entire frame shakes. The restraints inside clang against the bed. Then a loud thud strikes the door from the other side. Silence follows. A terrible, terrible silence. The older priest grips his rosary. "Whatever happens tonight," he says, "you do not answer questions from the voice." The younger priest unlocks the door. The room beyond is dark. A single lamp illuminates the bed. Roland lies strapped to the mattress. At first glance, he appears to be sleeping. Then his eyes open, and they're fixed directly on you. He smiles, slowly. As you step inside, you notice something strange. Words are appearing beneath the skin on his forearm. The raised welts emerging one letter at a time. You watch in horror as the message finishes forming. "Leave now." The priests haven't noticed. Roland's eyes never leave yours. What do? You said, "See, ignore the message and help prepare the exorcism." You force yourself to ignore the warning. Whether it's the trick of the light or medical condition or something far stranger, your job is to help this patient. Nothing else. You move to the bedside and begin preparing the equipment. The priests arrange candles around the room and open a worn Latin prayer book. Roland remains perfectly still, watching and waiting. The storm begins to intensify outside. Rain starts pouring against the windows. The older priests begin the ritual. Latin prayers fill the room. For several minutes, nothing happens. Then Roland starts laughing. A low chuckle. The sound grows louder and louder until it becomes a howl, and the bed frame rattles violently. The restraints strain, metal groans. You check his pulse. The moment your fingers touch his wrist, the laughter stops. Instantly, the room becomes silent. Roland slowly turns his head towards you. His eyes seem strangely focused, almost normal. "Eleanor," he whispers. You freeze. "Please." And the first time all night, he sounds like an ordinary frightened boy. "They're lying." The priests continue praying. Roland's eyes fill with tears. "Get them out of here." A second voice suddenly erupts. It comes from Roland's mouth, but it is deeper and angrier. "He belongs to us." The overhead lights explode. Glass rains onto the floor. Several candles extinguish all at once. The younger priest stumbles backward. The room temperature drops so rapidly that your breath becomes visible. Then something impossible happens. Every piece of metal equipment in the room begins operating all at once. Monitors beep, cabinets rattle, metal instruments slide across trays. The bed lifts several inches from the floor, and for a brief moment, everyone in the room simply stares. The bed crashes back down. The impact snags one of the restraints, and Roland's right arm comes free. The older priest shouts, "Hold him!" Roland's freed hand reaches beneath the mattress. You suddenly remember the earlier reports mentioned patients sometimes hiding sharp objects during episodes. If he's grabbing something, everyone in the room could be in danger. What do? A. Rush forward and restrain his arm before he can pull anything out. You lunge forward. Instinct takes over. Whatever Roland's reaching for, you can't let him have it. You grab his wrist with both hands. The moment your skin touches, a jolt shoots up your arm. Not an electric shock, something colder. It feels like plunging your hands into icy water. Roland's arm is impossibly strong. The strength of several grown men seems to surge through this boy's body. The younger priest rushes to help. Together, you force his arm back onto the mattress. For a moment, it works. Then Roland smiles. Not the frightened smile of a child, a knowing one. Cruel. The mattress beneath him begins to buck upwards. You and the priest are thrown backwards. You crash into a cabinet, sending supplies flying across the room. The older priest raises a crucifix and continues the ritual, his voice growing louder. And Roland began screaming. The scream becomes 2 voices, then 3. What sounds like an entire crowd of people speaking through him all at once. The room vibrates, the windows rattle. One of the candles topples onto the floor. You scramble to your feet. You notice something sticking out from beneath the mattress where Roland has reached. A folded piece of paper. The priests haven't seen it yet, neither has Roland. At least, you don't think he has. As soon as you notice it, Roland's eyes lock onto yours. His expression changes. For the first time all night, he looks afraid. Truly afraid. No, he whispers. Then the deeper voice erupts from his throat. Do not touch that. And the older priest glances over. What is it? He asks. The folded paper sits halfway under the mattress. What do? You said C. Ignore the paper and continue helping restraining Roland.
No. Wait.
That's the rules of the gauntlet.
No. Oh, fuck. All right.
You leave the paper where it's at. Whatever it contains can wait. Right now, the immediate danger is Roland. You rush back to the bedside and help the younger priest secure the broken restraint. The boy thrashes violently, the mattress groaning beneath him. The older priest's voices rises as it continues the ritual. Latin prayers echo through this room. Roland screams. The temperature plunges even further. Frost begins creeping up the inside of the windows, and the screaming stops. Instantly, the silence feels worse. Roland lies perfectly still. His eyes are closed. No movement, no sound, no struggle. The younger priest lowers his voice. Is it over? No one answers. You step closer to check Roland's pulse. Still there, slow and steady. Then his eyes snap open. Not at you, not at the priest, at the far corner of the room. Everyone follows his gaze. At first you see nothing. Then you notice it. A shadow. A darker patch of darkness standing where no object should be. Tall, motionless, almost human shape. The room feels suddenly crowded, as though someone else has entered, someone unseen. The older priest stops speaking for the first time all night. His face goes pale. The shadow slowly begins moving towards the bed. One, another, step. The candles flicker wildly. Roland begins laughing again, not because he is amused, because he seems to recognize whatever is approaching. The folded paper beneath the mattress slides out by itself. No wind, no one touching it. It glides across the floor until it stops at your feet. The shadow continues advancing. The priests are focused on it entirely. For a moment, no one is watching Roland, and no one is watching the paper except you. What do you do? Do you A, pick up the paper and read it? B, warn the priest that Roland is no longer being watched? C, confront the approaching shadow and try to block its path to the bed?
Okay, so first of all.
You, Eleanor.
Yeah, no, I think.
Eleanor the nurse, what are you doing?
Listen, I think the paper was the biggest play. I feel like something was there. I feel like or it could have been a trap because he was reaching for it. He was reaching for the paper. Maybe it was actually the boy reaching for it, that it was something to do. Ooh. Or it was the first thing that he had. And then it brought the spirit into him, and it's like, oh, this is the paper, I'm a gambling man. I might as well. My curiosity would have gotten the best of me. I'm getting the paper, even if I'm choosing that.
Pick up the paper.
Yeah.
You bend down and snatch up the paper. The moment your fingers touch it, the room seems to grow quieter. Not silent, but just muffled. As though the sounds around you are suddenly coming from far away. The shadow continues advancing. The priests continue praying, but their voices now sound distant. You unfold the paper. The page is old and yellowed, covered in hurried handwriting. At first, you think it's a note from a doctor. Then you realize the writing is addressed directly to whoever finds it. The message reads, "If you are reading this, do not trust what you see. The boy will sometimes tell the truth. The voice will sometimes tell the truth. The worst lies are mixed with facts. If the ritual reaches midnight, it will try to divide everyone in the room. It will offer secrets. It will reveal guilt. It will turn friend against friend. Whatever happens, do not leave the room alone. There is more." The final lines have been scribbled so hard the pencil nearly tore through the paper. "If the shadow appears, keep your eyes on the boy. The shadow is the distraction." Your blood freezes. You slowly lower the paper. The shadow is now only a few feet away from the bed. The priests are staring directly at it, exactly at what the note warned against. And Roland is no longer on the fucking bed. The restraints hang empty. For one impossible second, your mind refuses to accept what you're seeing. Then one hand closes around your shoulder from behind. You spin around. Roland is standing directly behind you. His hospital gown hangs loosely from his thin frame. His face is expressionless. His eyes almost seem normal. Almost. "You're the only one paying attention," he says softly. The shadow vanishes. The priests whirl around in shock. Roland smiles. Then he points towards the hallway outside the room. The door at the far end of the corridor slowly creaks open by itself. Darkness waits beyond. "Something's coming," Roland whispers. The older priest raises his crucifix. "No one else is here." Roland's smile widened. Then what just opened the door?" Heavy footsteps echo from the hallway. Then another, slower, measured, approaching. What do? Do you A, stay with the priest and Roland inside the room? B, go into the hallway, investigate the footsteps? C, lock the room door and refuse to let whatever is outside enter?
I feel like the footsteps are a distraction, like the note said. I'm gonna actually follow the note.
Stay with the priest and Roland inside the room?
Yes.
Okay.
Though if I had locked the door, wouldn't that just be like the same? We would still be in. But I feel like that'd be the distraction because Roland would be like,
You stay inside the room. The warning on the note flashes through your mind. Do not leave the room alone. Whatever is out there, you are not going to meet it in a dark hospital corridor. The older priest motions for everyone to move away from the door. Excuse me. The younger priest quietly shuts it. The footsteps continue, slow and steady, drawing nearer. Thump, thump. The sound reaches the other side of the door, then stops. Silence. No rattling handle, no knock, no nothing. Everyone waits. The room feels smaller by the second. Then a voice comes from the hallway. "Father?" The younger priest freezes. His face goes white. The voice sounds exactly like his mother. A frail, elderly woman who, according to the priest, died years ago. The older priest immediately begins praying louder. The voice comes again, soft, pleading. "Please, open the door." The younger priest grips his rosary so tightly his knuckles turn white. Roland watches with fascination. The voice changes. Now it belongs to a man. The older priest's expression hardens. You realize it must be somebody he recognizes as well. The thing outside seems to know exactly who to imitate. The voice changes again. This time it speaks as your father. Every word, every inflection, perfect. "Eleanor." Your stomach drops. "Open the door, please." You know it cannot be him, yet hearing it feels like a knife twisting in your chest. The handle begins turning slowly. The lock clicks. The door starts to open. At the same moment, Roland doubles over. He screams in agony. The sound is unlike anything you've heard all night. His skin suddenly erupts with fresh welts. Letters, words, entire sentences. The marks race across his arm, his chest, faster than anyone can read them. The older priest shouts, "The boy! Look at the boy!" Everyone turns away from the door. The opening door suddenly slams shut on its own. The room shakes violently. Roland collapses on the floor. When the trembling finally stops, the new message upon his skin becomes clear. The words stretch across both forearms. It fears the name. The priests stare. The younger priest looks confused. What name? Before anyone can answer, Roland slowly raises his head. His eyes lock onto yours, and he speaks in a voice that is not his own. A voice like gravel and thunder, a voice filled with hatred. And it says only one word, a name. The instant it is spoken, every light in the room explodes. The room is plunged into total darkness. And something screams from the hallway. Not human. Not even close. What do? You ask Roland to repeat the name? Search for a flashlight while the priests continue the ritual. Help the priest continue the exorcism in the darkness and ignore the scream.
Help the priest. Ignored the scream. Fuck it. Dark.
You ignore the scream. Whatever in the hallway is no longer your priority. The boy is. The ritual is. You move towards the priest in the darkness. The only remaining light comes from a single candle that somehow survived the shattered fixtures. Its tiny flame casts long, distorted shadows across the room. The older priest resumes the rite immediately. His voice is hoarse now, exhausted, but determined. The younger priest joins in. The Latin prayers grow louder, stronger. Roland writhes on the floor. The words on his skin begin shifting, letters twisting, rearranging themselves like living things beneath the flesh. The boy starts speaking, not screaming, speaking calmly, one voice after another. A nurse who quit the hospital, a doctor who transferred away, a patient from another floor. People the priests have never met, each voice saying the same thing. Stop, stop. The candles flicker. Leave him alone. The flames bend sideways. You're making it worse. Then every voice speaks together and the sound shakes the room. He is ours. The candle goes out. Total darkness. And for several terrifying seconds, all you can hear is prayer. Then something touches your hand. You nearly jump, but it's the younger priest. He presses a crucifix into your palm. Hold this, he whispers. You grip it tightly. The metal feels strangely warm. Across the room, Roland begins choking. You hear him gasping for air. The priests immediately change their prayers. The choking worsens, then suddenly stops. A deep silence settles over the room. A different kind of silence. Not threatening or oppressive, just still. Someone strikes a match. The tiny flame illuminates the room. Roland lies motionless on the floor. The red markings are gone. The frost on the window has melted, and the air feels normal again. For the first time all night, the room seems like an ordinary hospital room. The older priest kneels beside the boy and checks his pulse. For a long moment passes, then another. He finally looks up, tears glistening in his exhausted eyes. I think, he says quietly, I think it is over. No one speaks, no one dares believe it. Roland slowly opens his eyes. They look clear, confused, but human. The boy glances around the room. Why are you all staring at me? The priests exchange stunned looks. Roland sits up. The last thing he notices is you. Miss Eleanor? His voice is weak, childlike. Did I do something wrong? Before anyone can answer, a loud knock echoes from the hallway. Everyone freezes. 3 slow knocks, then silence. The priests stare at the door. Roland stares at the door. You stare at the door, and from the other side comes a familiar voice. Your own. Don't open it. You survived the night, but whether the exorcism truly ended remains a mystery. Hey, you survived it. Good job.
It was a little bit like, did I?
Yeah,
did I?
You
It's like that one's kind of like
Roland and the priest.
Yeah.
Why are you so fat, Cat?
I'm gonna be real. Like my first instinct, like in a possession like that, while the priests are doing their thing, it's my job to be the enforcer, right? And it's like, bah, bah, bah. It's like, come back to us, you son of a. Just start beating the kid down. I'm like,
that poor kid is just getting
like,
just a head bouncing off. So
I can even imagine like the demons like, you're hurting the kid. Damn.
Dang. Eleanor, quit it. I can't. Just peace in that poor kid. So
I can imagine
so we're going back to like the dark comedy idea, right?
I was thinking about
it's just Tyson, just like
no, I was thinking like you're
Tyson
up there,
in a
like
wig.
you're doing this, and you're like, no, I won't stop. And then it's like your hands go out of frame, and they come back in, and there's a boxing gloves, and you just start. Bah, bah.
I just think of what was it? Was it a Scary Movie where Tyson was in a wig fighting the
yes,
chick?
yes,
Yeah, I was thinking that same
Scary
thing
Movie
where it's
3.
just like Tyson in a wig, and it's like Nurse Eleanor, stop! I can't. just the kid's hanging up, like, and he's just using him like a sandbag, just do, like, just giving it to him.
The priest comes in with the referee, like he's wearing a referee thing instead, and he's like,
he's wearing a ref shirt, but he's got the priest collar on and the cross and everything.
He picks up the hand, and it's just like winner.
That's funny.
But no, I would definitely say like this is, Oof, demonic possessions are
Yeah.
insane to think about.
They really, really are. So, that was the exorcism of Roland Doe.
Yep. And if you've made it this far, please go ahead, leave a like, go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell for any notifications to stay updated for when we post. And then, of course, follow us on all of our social medias. We have links in the descriptions for everything. We have the book, The Exorcist, that are for the book club for July. And then, yeah, that's you don't have to keep, like, you're barely in frame. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to flip it to your camera, and then it's just you leaning over. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. Ghosts and Ghouls.
This cover glows in the dark. I'm really excited about it. It's really freaky. But, yeah, Ghosts and Ghouls. Support your local parish so you too can have an exorcism.